Hello ladies and gentlemen, I hope that whenever and wherever this finds you, it finds you doing well. I wanted to take just a few minutes today and make a quick video showing you something that I feel is one of the most important and sometimes often most neglected area when it comes to having a successful lawn, garden, landscape, and that is how to take a soil sample. And so today I'm going to show you not only the process of taking the soil sample, but explain to you along the way the reasons why this is so important. And so I hope you'll watch, I hope you'll learn a little bit, and so let's go ahead and get started. Well, first of all, let's take just a quick minute and discuss why soil sampling is so important. Oftentimes in the spring, when everybody's getting fired up to go to the garden or get out into their yard and do some landscaping and get everything pretty for the summer, they see all the commercials on TV of your home improvement stores that have the latest fertilizers and brand names, this and that, and so you go out and you buy them and you just kind of haphazardly spread them around and just hoping for the best. But what most people don't understand is, the success that you have in your lawn, the success you have in your garden, has to do a lot with the chemistry of what's going on inside of the soil, the part that you cannot see. And so it's important to make sure that we understand the pH. The pH level affects what nutrients can be taken in by the plants. And so if the pH is off, it doesn't matter necessarily the nutrients that you put out there. Or maybe the lawn needs this nutrient but not this one. And so sometimes we have overkill, and you can put too much fertilizer on a soil and it can do more harm than good. And so just like when you go to the doctor sometimes and they do a blood sample and they run that through various tests, and they can tell you, how much iron you have in your blood, what your cholesterol level is. And so by taking that blood test, you're getting a scientific look at what is good and what needs attention. And so by doing a soil test, that's exactly what we're doing for your garden, for your lawn. It's seeing what exactly needs attention and what exactly is good. And so a soil test is the best way to make sure, one, you get what you need in your plants, but also that you don't waste money and do more harm than good by putting too much. Now, in order to take a successful soil sample, what you need to do is just gather a few materials. Now, the first thing you need to do is make a visit to your local cooperative extension office, and they will supply you with these little cardboard brown boxes that you'll be using to actually send the sample off to the lab to be tested. And also, you'll need to get a soil sample information sheet. You can actually find these online. Or you can get these again at your local cooperative extension office. We'll get to those in a second. But you're going to need to go by and get these first before you do the sample. Now, the next thing you're going to need is something in which to extract the sample from. You can use a soil probe, a soil tube. You can use, even if you don't have one of these, you can use a shovel or maybe even a trowel, a metal trowel. And also you're going to need a bucket. Now, make sure that you use a plastic bucket, okay? You do not want to use a metal bucket because some of the trace elements inside of this could skew some of your results. So do not use a metal bucket. Make sure that you find a clean bucket, especially if you've put anything else in it, fertilizers or anything like that. Make sure you wash it and clean it very well before. But once you have these materials, now you're ready to take and begin your soil sample. Now, the first step in the process of taking the soil sample is determining the area in which you're going to be taking the sample from. Now, if you have a lawn that is pretty much the same all the way around, you have no major differences as far as soil type or anything like that, one sample is sufficient. However, if you're like me, I have different areas in which I'm growing different things. So for example, over here, I have my lawn. Over here behind me, you can see I have some fruit trees. And over here to my left, I have some muscadine vines. And over here, I have my garden. So if there's specific things that you're going to be growing, then you want to take a sample from each of those areas. So I would have one from my lawn, one from my fruit trees, one from my muscadine vines, one from my garden. But the point is just figure out which area that you're going to take for each sample. But again, if you're just doing this for your home, and you're just doing it for your lawn, or just one little garden spot, then usually just going around and taking one sample is plenty suffice. Now, once you have determined the area that you're going to do your sampling from, what you're going to do is go around and get about 15 to 20 samples as evenly and spread out randomly as you can. And we're going to put them in this bucket. And so if I have my soil probe, or again, if you're just using a spade or a shovel, you want to make sure that you get a good sample. And so if I'm using a soil probe, all I'm going to do is just go through, push down, twist, and pull it up. And for a lawn that you're just mainly growing, grass or something like that, you just want to make sure you get about a 4-inch sample. If you're doing trees or shrubbery, you may want to get a 6-inch sample. But once you have this sample, what you're going to do is just pick out any of the grass and stuff that you see here on the top. And just simply take your sample and put it in your bucket. Now, for the sake of time and space, I'm not going to do this entire area, but again, you just go out randomly and as evenly as you can. Just get 15 to 20 samples and put them in this bucket. Now, once you've taken your 15 to 20 cores from the area, put them in your bucket, we want to make sure we mix it up really well. So you can take your probe and mix it up real well. You can just shake the bucket. We want to make sure we get a good, even distribution from the entire area. And once we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to take the box that we received from the Cooperative Extension Office. And if you'll notice, on that line, or on that box, is a line that tells us how much soil to put in this box. And so once I've mixed this up, I'm going to take it, we'll pour it inside of my box to that red line. And then I'm going to close up the box. And from the information sheet that you downloaded or received from the Cooperative Extension Office, there's instructions here on how to fill out this form and how to give this a name, an address, and an ID number on your sample box. And then it shows you how to mail this in. And then what's going to happen is once you mail this into the soil lab, in 2 to 3 weeks you'll receive a report back. And on that report, it's going to explain to you everything you need to know about your soil. It'll have information about your pH. Do you need to adjust it up or down? Do you have enough elements, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, or do you need to add some? And by doing this, you're getting a good scientific look at what it is that your soil needs and doesn't need. And so that helps to greatly increase the effectiveness of your landscape or your garden, but also keeps you from wasting money and buying things you don't need, and also, again, putting too much and doing more harm than good. And so I hope you can see that just from 20 to 30 minutes a year, you can greatly do yourself a lot of good and your landscape a lot of good from taking these soil samples. If you do these between the months of April to Thanksgiving, these are normally free in North Carolina. There's no extra charge to the person taking the sample. However, if you do these between Thanksgiving and April, usually it's like $4 per sample, which is still a minimal charge. So I hope that this is helpful. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments below. I appreciate you watching and hope you have a blessed day.